Welcome to another episode of the Tiffany Paul Show, where we don't know who we are, where we're going, or what this thing called life is all about. I mean, like, all I fucking know is we're spinning around on a floating rock in the middle of the sky in space, and I don't really appreciate not knowing more than that. The show is not actually about being lost and confused. The show is about keeping it real, and I am really confused right now. It's an ego death, and I thought today we would talk about this feeling of loss, the loss of an identity. But before we get into that, let me kick it off with my weekly rant, because we all love a good rant. So today's rant is all about being sad in the summer, the summertime sadness. You know the song, like, I got the summertime sadness. I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate being sad in the summer. It makes me feel like a double loser. It's like the sun's out, everyone's having fun, and you're fucking sad. Like being sad in the winter, being sad in the fall, fine. Spring, whatever. At least you have hope, like a new beginning. The birds are chirping. The babies are hatching. The tulips are blooming. Like, maybe I will be able to get myself out of the coffin that I'm currently in, and a crack of light is glimmering in the distance of spring, which will turn into summer. But I'm in the summer. I'm supposed to be full bloom, happy. I'm not happy. I'm lost and confused, and I don't appreciate being sad in the summer. And not to mention, for all the parents out there, there's like so much pressure to have fun as a family in the summer. It's like, I just want to curl up on the couch, watch movies, and play board games. Like, that's very winter-esque. But in the summer, it's like we have to be out and about. We have to be active. We have to have energy and vitality for life. But like, what if you don't have vitality for life? Then you are just a girl who's pretending to be happy in the summer. And then that makes you feel like a fucking psycho, because you're like, I'm the girl who has to be pretending to be happy in the summer. Which also, like, it's kind of crazy, because I guess there's a lot of people who probably pretend to be happy year-round, but like, something about being sad in the summertime, it's just not my jam. Like, can I just be sad in the winter? Okay. So anyways, that's today's rant. So let's get into what an ego death is and why you might be feeling lost, in case, you're on this journey of feeling lost with me. And then we'll get into today's question. And also, if you do have a question for me, you can always DM it to me at Instagram at I am Tiffany Paul, and I will answer it on the show. Okay, so what is an ego death? I had ChatGPT break it down for us, because, you're not going to trust the lost and confused girl to give you the correct definition at this moment, are you? Okay, first off, what is an ego death? An ego death is the experience of losing your sense of self, the identity, roles, beliefs, and stories you built about who you are. It can feel disorienting, terrifying, liberating, or all of the above. Let me tell you this, I don't feel liberated. I feel terrified and disoriented, and I don't like it. So in simple terms, it's when the I you thought you were dissolves. So I feel like I had my first massive ego death during my spiritual awakening, when I was really waking up to leaving corporate America and the identities I'd played and the expectations I had around life. And I wasn't expecting that 5 years later I'd be having another intense ego death, but here I am. All right, so here are 6 common signs that you are experiencing an ego death. Number 1, you are wrestling with the question of, who am I? It feels like a very real, unanswerable question. And it's kind of fucking rude. Like, a question without an answer, terrifying. All right, number 2, a sense that nothing matters, but in a neutral or even peaceful way. I don't feel neutral. I don't feel peaceful. Again, I feel terrified. Nothing matters. I'm a mother. I should be like, oh, well, at least my children matter. Being a mom matters. Like, I can't even find any meaning in life right now. I'm happy to be alive, because I look forward to the day that I find meaning, but peaceful, neutral, not me. Okay, number 3. Time, space, and identity feel fluid or meaningless. I feel this. It's like time. What is time? You stop identifying with the linear timeline, and it's just more fluid, like just feeling more kind of lost in space energetically, if you will. Number 4, disconnection from your usual thoughts, emotions, and stories. Yeah, because I used to be excited about life. I used to know what I want. I used to be like, I believe in myself. And now I'm like, I don't even know who I am. So how can I believe in myself if I don't even know who I am? Number 5, intense fear or surrender, like you're dying, but psychologically. Yeah, I do. I have had those moments of intense fear. I think for me, the biggest one is like fear of, am I ever going to be happy again? What if I never figure out who I am? Lastly, a sense of oneness with everything or absolute emptiness. Yeah, number 2 for me, because right now I feel like an absolute emptiness of like, there's nothing there. Like, nothing matters. There's no meaning. There's no identity. There's no direction. Emptiness. I don't appreciate the emptiness. So for me, it's like on the other side of the emptiness, I'm sure I will reconnect to that feeling of oneness. But I feel like if I was like connecting to a sense of oneness, I might feel that I matter. So this is maybe advanced for people who are further along in their ego death than me. So anyways, why does it happen? Ego death often comes as part of growth. The self we've created to feel safe through people-pleasing roles, identities, trauma adaptations starts to collapse under the pressure of authenticity, awakening, or healing. It's the psyche's way of clearing space for a deeper truth, not who you are, but what you are beneath the ego. Okay. After an ego death, you might feel raw and tender, deeply peaceful or recentered, confused, lost, or existential, grateful, aligned, and awakened. Reintegration is key, bringing what you realize back to the day-to-day life. So it sounds like maybe one day I'm going to know things. I'm going to have some clarity that I can bring to my everyday life. But in the meantime, we don't really know what's happening. We're just sad in the summer. We're lost and confused. And we're just going with it because we are surrendering. We are surrendering and we are committed to showing up authentically as we are. And that is all I can really control at the moment because I was never really in control to begin with. Clearly, because I was going to say I wouldn't choose this for myself, but obviously I did. So if you are feeling that sense of loss of identity, I just wanted to break down exactly what an ego death was and why it happens so that you know that this is all happening for you. It is deepening your connection to truth, to authenticity. And whatever we are shedding and letting go is not meant to go with us on this next iteration of life. I believe that Earth is going through a frequency shift and we are calibrating to a higher level of truth. And what that looks like is that anything fake or inauthentic can no longer exist, especially for us that are meant to lead and be the change at this time for others who will go later, because we can't all awaken and be lost at once because the world would fucking go crazy. So if you are having an ego death, if you are having an identity shift, know that you are meant to go first. You are meant to awaken. You are meant to recalibrate to truth so that you can be a living, breathing role model for those who awaken later on. And at the current moment, looking at the lost and confused girl, it's not the best role model. Like most people are like, I don't want this. I will stay in the matrix. Thank you very much. You are not inspiring me. But maybe one day I will have peace and happiness and connect to oneness, and I will be a role model. I will be a leader. And I know that this is all happening for me in the meantime. Like, let's challenge the idea that being a leader means that you have to have it all together. Being a leader means that you have to have accomplished something. Being a leader means that you have to have achievements. What if you could be a leader while you're sad in the summer? What if you could be a leader while you are in an existential crisis? What if you could be a leader while you don't even know who you are anymore? What if you could be a leader simply by having the courage to show up authentically as you are? What if you could be a leader by saying the hard thing, by having the hard conversation? This is the new paradigm of leadership. Leadership is authenticity. And I promise you that if you just own the truth that you are feeling lost right now, that you are feeling anxious, that you are depressed, that you are grieving, that you're sad, that you're feeling not enough, that you're feeling empty, that is going to be the key to getting through this, but also continuing to be a power of example for others, because others are going to notice and feel the truth of you just having the courage to admit, I'm not doing okay. I'm a little confused. I'm in transition right now. And sure, you don't have to tell everybody you meet, when you're checking out, yeah, I'm having a bad day, I'm depressed. But like when it feels true and right to you, own the truth that you're not okay. That is the whole reason I decided to relaunch this brand all about truth and authenticity and keeping it real while I was in the middle of a dark night of the soul, of an ego death, because it feels like it's only okay to be real and honest when we're doing okay. And when did we ever decide that it is okay to only be real when we're doing good? It is essential to share the truth about the human experience, the highs, the lows, the happiness, the hopelessness. It's all part of the journey. And it is my hope that showing up each week on the podcast, keeping it real AF, no matter what I'm going through, helps heal you, helps give you permission to be a truer, more aligned version of you, even when it sucks, even when it's hard, even when you're having a bad day. Everywhere you look, it looks like everybody's fucking happy and thriving. You go on the internet, it looks like everybody's fucking happy. You go to the baseball field with your family, it looks like everybody's in a happy fucking family. You go to the fucking beach, it looks like everyone's in love holding hands on the boardwalk. Like, yeah, there are people that are happy 100%, but like the people who are sad or are struggling or lost and confused are harder to find. And that makes you feel so alone when you don't know who you are, when you're having a hard time. And like, I promise you, if you are on the spiritual journey, the higher the highs that your soul desires to experience, the lower the lows it is going to put you through. Because as you grow and expand on the spiritual journey, you are expanding your capacity, not only for love and joy and happiness, but for hopelessness and despair. Because you know what? Like when you're the light, you want to know what you are doing. You are going to be holding light for people who are struggling, who are having a hard time. And when you've been to those dark places, when you've been to those low lows, you can more authentically hold space for others who have been on this path. I understand like what it's like to not even want to be here anymore. And I remember sharing that with a friend, and she was like, wow, like you're a mom. I'm so shocked that you feel that way. And at first I felt shame, like, yeah, fuck, trust me, I've already shamed myself enough for having those thoughts. Because if nothing matters and I can't find meaning, and I have 2 kids, like, what an awful way to live. And the more I've shared that feeling with other people, the more every time I say it aloud, someone else says, yeah, me too. I felt that way too. I felt like I don't matter, life doesn't matter, there's no meaning, and there's no point in going on. And I share that because these deep feelings of hopelessness and despair are very normal on the way to expansion and growth, because along the way, we are forced to shed and release old parts of us, and that feels like dying. The very, very real thing about an ego death is that it does feel like death in your body. It feels like physical pain. It feels like grief that you'll never come out of. It hurts so badly that you start to have thoughts about how can I go on? And every time I have those thoughts, the mainstream would say, go get medication. And I'm not saying that is not the right answer for some of you, but I've been on this journey long enough, dying enough deaths to know that every ego death and releasing of what was feels like death. And I do have thoughts of death. It's like the movie Barbie, where all of a sudden she's like, oh, I had thoughts of death. That is the reality of an ego death. You will feel like you're dying, and you will have thoughts. You will have intrusive thoughts. And of course, there are emergency numbers. If you're feeling that way, please go get support, because it can be scary. I never actually would do anything. I was never to that point. But I want to share, because I feel like when you have those thoughts, it can be like very overwhelming. Like, wait, what? Why am I thinking this? I'm a mom. I have so much to live for. Like, but do I? It's like, I have to share this I can't have a talk about ego death without sharing like the actual real side of letting a part of you die. And so if you can relate, you're not alone. And if you are someone who has never had that thought, it's not probably a requirement, but it is, if it happens to you, it is actually more normal than you think. Because as I have shared this, like I would be having lunch with my friends and I'd be like, I'm just not doing well. Like I'm even having thoughts of, like not even like wanting to be here anymore. And every single one of my strong, smart, confident, amazing, brilliant, motivated friends said they've had the same thought. It's more normal than you think. And you're not going crazy. You're just awakening to deeper sense of who you are and the truth of who you are. And there are people on this planet that deny and resist the hard feelings and the hard emotions, and they numb and they avoid and they shut it down. And that is their survival strategy. And part of it is because they don't think they have the capacity to feel the hard things, the grief, the anger, the confusion, the unhappiness, the despair, because they're afraid they're going to get sucked in and they can't come out. And what I do know about an ego death is that you always come out the other side, and you come out the other side stronger, more aligned, happier, more peaceful than you were before the ego death. So many people suppress these emotions. They call it peace. That's simply avoiding the hard thing. True peace comes in feeling it and moving it through your system so you can reconnect to a deeper sense of truth. That is true peace, not avoiding the hard thing. So if you're in the hard thing, congratulations. That is the real of what it takes, what it can feel like. So hold on to your hats, guys. It gets kind of crazy. All right, so I hope that real talk was helpful for you. Let's get into today's question. So the question is, what if the people I love don't accept the real me? Is it worth the risk to show up fully? Hell yes, it's worth the risk to show up fully. First off, if they don't love and accept the real you, I'm sorry, but that's not real love. They're loving a fucking persona of you, a picture of you, a performing version of you. That's not true love. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if they're loving the idea of you, that's not true love. It's not true love if it's not the real you. They aren't actually accepting you. They're accepting some idea of you. And so my question to you is, are you here to be accepted as a fake ass version of you? Are you here to be loved for the idea and mask that you're wearing? Or do you crave deeper love? Do you crave acceptance for who you truly are, flawed and bold and maybe a little weird? What are you here for? What does your soul say when I ask you that question? Are you here to be loved and accepted as the idea of you, or is your soul here to be accepted and loved for the truth of who you are? Life is too short to surround yourself with people who are going to force you to mold and contort yourself into a certain version of who you are so that they can love and accept you. If they are rejecting parts of you, it is because they are rejecting parts of themselves. They are rejecting the imperfect, the flawed, the messy, the real parts of who they are. So I would also just tell you that inability for them to love and accept you as you are has a lot more to do with who they are and their own judgments of self than they do about you. And the other thing I would say to challenge you is that, have you actually tried to be your real self around them? How do you know that they don't accept you? Have you even tried? A lot of us tell ourselves these stories that we have to be a certain way in order to be loved and accepted, but we don't even give people the chance to love and accept us for who we truly are. Who says they don't love and accept you? Maybe something specific happened. And so if that's the case, I go back to my previous advice, but If you haven't given them the chance to love and accept you as you truly are, that's on you. That's not on them. So I want you to look within and ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of happening if you are the true you? Because the answer is most likely this fear of rejection. And it's a lot easier to be just loved and accepted as this fake version of you than it is to risk being rejected for who you truly are. That's the whole reason so many of us wear these masks. We perform and we try to be perfect and we people please and we self-abandon so that everybody will be happy and love and accept us. Because it's a lot easier to perform and be accepted and belong than it is to put ourselves at risk for being rejected for who we truly are. And even wearing these masks and performing in a certain way, it's a lot easier to be rejected as the fake version of us than it is to be rejected as the true version of who we truly are. And so we hide, we protect behind a false self. And it's time for the false self to fall away so that you can experience true love, true acceptance, true belonging. So many of us are sacrificing our truth and our authenticity to belong. But the truth is that when you belong because of a false sense of self, you're not really belonging at all. You're not even there. They don't even know you. They know the idea of you, the image of you, the mask of you, the watered down, dimmed down version of you. And there's nothing more powerful in this world than showing up as you are. And nothing feels better than being loved and accepted for who you truly are. And on the flip side of that, nothing hurts more than being rejected for who you truly are. Because each of us hold a wound from childhood. Every single person has that moment in time, a memory, whether it's from a parent, a loved one, a friend, a family member who rejected us for our truth and our authenticity. We all have a life experience that taught us that being ourselves is unsafe, that sold us the lie that we're too much or we're not enough. And so we've spent our lives contorting and twisting ourselves into these versions of who we think the world will accept us as, who we think the world will love us as. And aren't you fucking tired of performing, of perfecting, of making sure everybody else is okay? Of abandoning the self, the true self, in pursuit of somebody else's love and acceptance? Isn't it time to love and accept yourself as enough? The truth is you're rejecting yourself as not enough. If you're not showing up as your true authentic self, you are rejecting that version of you. You are telling yourself that's not enough. It's not their problem. It's actually your problem. You are simply projecting your own rejection onto those other people. And the reason I know this is that if you didn't reject your true self, if you thought it was enough, if you were secure enough in who you are, you wouldn't fucking care what those people have to say. So the more that you hide who you truly are in order to be accepted and loved by these other people, the more you yourself are not accepting who you truly are. The more you yourself are not believing that you're enough, that you're lovable, that you're accepted, and you're probably not even giving yourself the chance. Give them a chance. But it starts within, knowing that you are enough, that you accept you. And when you accept you, it makes it a lot easier to share the true you with someone else. Because even if they reject you, you remind yourself that you've got you, that you accept you. Because if you don't love and accept yourself and somebody else rejects you, you don't really have a safe place to land. So maybe you do some work on the inside, work on this relationship you might have with your true self. But I believe the quickest way to healing this within yourself is to simply decide to be your true self and let the chips fall where they fall. To just commit to being the real you no matter the room. That is the quickest way to heal this. You can do the inner child work. You can do the affirmations and work on your self-worth and all that stuff all day long. I don't know if it's ever going to be healed. But all I know is that it is possible for you to show up as your authentic self here and now and prove to yourself that it is safe to be you. Because right now your nervous system is freaking out saying, it's not safe to be me. I'm going to be rejected. I'm afraid because it's remembering a past memory where you weren't accepted for who you are, where you were rejected. It's remembering that past moment. And so the quickest way to heal that is to show your body through evidence that it is safe to be you. So start showing up more authentically and let your body feel that it's safe. Start showing up more authentically and provide yourself evidence that actually they do seem to be accepting me as my true self. Provide yourself more evidence so that you can feel safe. So I hope that answered the question. Let me read it again to make sure. What if the people I love don't accept the real me? Is it worth the risk to show up fully? I think we answered that. And in the end, is it worth it? Absolutely. Truth is always worth it. Even these moments of pain, even if worst case scenario happens, it's always worth it to be a truer version of you. Because when you show up truly, you show yourself that you got you, that you love you. And that is a gift. That is a gift that's way better than other people accepting you. Do you accept you? Do you love you? Do you believe in you? So I hope that helps. I hope that this episode gave you a little more permission to show up authentically and real. And if you're going through an ego death, like I am here with you, we will rise. We will get out the other side. We will remember who we are and what we're doing and where we're going and why we're here on earth. Then in the meantime, thank you for tuning in to the Tiffany Paul Show. Stay real.